All right, now, if you are not a risk taker, there are three businesses that you're supposed to avoid, or you should not even think about starting those particular businesses or doing them, or you should not even if you have capital, don't do those businesses, because if you are not a risk taker and you are not ready to face the problems and navigate through them, then those businesses are not for you. And the first business, number one, is farming. You know, farming is both a business. Farming is both a business and an investment. Right? Farming is both a business and an investment. Now, a business and investment is somehow close to each other. But remember, I told you the only thing that differentiates between business and investment is whereby in investment, little effort from you is required. And in business, if at all you are not you are not working in that particular business. For example, a supermarket and you are not working there, then that one is a business as well as an investment. But if you find yourself that you are working in your business and you are there 24/7 for your business to run, then that one is not an investment. It's your job, all right? Now, farming, if you are not a risk taker, don't go to farming. Farming is not for the faint-hearted, you know. It's not for someone like you are speculating things. This is farming needs someone who is straightforward, someone who knows exactly what they are going to do. There are several reasons why I'm saying this, several reasons why I'm going to tell you that not to do farming if you don't like taking risks. If you are not a risk taker, if you are not someone where si mtu wa kufunga macho unasema this is the way, I don't care what is going to happen, I don't care how many millions I'm going to lose. Because ladies and gentlemen, you can do farming, you can either do animal farming, or crop farming. And when you do this business, for example, if you do animal farming, this one is full of challenges. Like, for example, diseases, you need food, you need feeds, and so on and so on. And, you know, these animals can be sick and they can die. So it's a high risk business. And that's why we normally say that in, investment in biological assets is a high risk investment. When you talk about crops farming, look at the case of cash crop, and of course here we are talking about cash crop farming. Look at the onions, look at even the maize, look at the potatoes, tomatoes, and so on and so on. Those are high risk investments because they are affected by a lot of conditions, such as if you look at crop farming, we are talking about weather. We are talking about weather. We are talking about that is climatic conditions. Climatic conditions. I don't know. Imagine you have planted 5 acres of land of potatoes or 10 acres of potatoes, and then it was raining very well. And then it rains only 2 months. And look at the place that you have planted your tomatoes. It's a place whereby you have not invested on irrigation. There is no water close, so you depend on rains. So it rains on only 2 months, and then it stops for the rest of the month. Potatoes are going to take like 5 months to harvesting. Now, tell me what you are going to do for the next 3 months that you need water. You see, it's a high risk, and you have already put your money there in that particular land, and you have said that I'm going to invest probably 500,000 in this land, 10 acres of tomatoes or potatoes, and so on and so on. So you see, if it fails to rain, then it means that you are going to lose the whole of that investment, and your potatoes or your tomatoes are going to dry. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a high risk. You can also plant the same cash crops, for example, tomatoes, potatoes, onions, and so on and so on. And then instead of raining moderately, it rains heavily, such that the rains, instead of favoring the cash crops or favoring the farming itself, then they destroy everything. For example, if you look at the case of potatoes, they don't like a lot of water, so it rains heavily, then the water floods, then it destroys the whole thing, so you lose again the whole of your investment. So I'm telling you, farming requires a lot of risk mitigating factor. For example, if you have to check the land, it's not supposed to be flat. It's not supposed to be flat. Then if it's a flat land, it's raining heavily, then you consider planting something like rice, because rice normally does well in those aquatic areas. Now, if it's something like onions, then it's not suitable, because onions is going to require land like this where water flows. It's not going to stagnate, sir, because you are going to lose the whole of your investment. So you have to check. Those are the kind of risk mitigating. Look at the land, the location of the land, the positioning of the land, and so on. You remember the agriculture. You have to teach yourself such things, and that's why I'm saying farming is not for the faint-hearted. If you are not a risk taker, do not dare go there. For example, if look at when you talk about animal farming, the case of poultry farming, for example, just to give you poultry farming. Look at poultry farming. If you just do a small mistake, then you find all your birds are dead. Just one disease, all your birds are dead. Whether it's broiler farming, it's mixed kienyeji or improved kienyeji, and so on and so on. If there is one mistake, your chicks or your birds are dead. And therefore, if you had invested like 100,000, 200,000 in that poultry farm, then you lose everything. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not a risk taker, kama we ni wale watu wa kusema sijui nini, I don't like taking risk, I feel like I might lose my money. Even when you think about putting your money in a money market fund, the low risk investment, your head is just I don't know. Don't dare this invest, because it can teach you character development like proper, because this one is not a joke. You might lose all your ask farmers. Sometimes they go even without harvesting anything, or the crops dry, they are destroyed by rains. If there are heavy rains, sometimes the dry spell comes, and therefore all the crops, if you have not even invested for drip irrigation and so on, if you don't have water and so on, then you lose all your investment. So, ladies and gentlemen, animal farming, crop farming, whatever kind of farming, if you are not a risk taker, don't dare go for this kind of an investment. You just stay with low risk investments such as treasury bills, treasury bonds, kwenye unangoja uinvestiwe pesa and you move on with life. Now, the second kind of an investment that you're supposed to avoid if you are not a risk taker is a hotel. Now, this one is another business that is not for the faint-hearted people. A hotel can teach you character development. And remember, a hotel, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a hint, if you want to open a hotel, open it in urban areas. And don't dare open a hotel in residential places, such as, for example, residential places ni kwenye watu wanaishi. Don't open hotels where people stay, because people are going to cook for them. So, for example, in this particular economy, who is going to hotel to eat food? Very rare. You just go to hotel, take some tea and some breakfast there, just some, not heavy meal, some tea and mandazi and so on, and chapatis and so on and so on. But when it comes to cooking, people are doing cooking in their homes just for the purpose of saving money. And therefore, I'm telling you, if you wanted to open a hotel, don't go to those residential places where people normally stay and so on, and then you wanted to open a hotel there. My friend, you are going to eat alone, because people want to save money. The economy is not so good, and therefore everybody is looking on where they can cut costs. So if you want to open a hotel, go to places like CBD. If you are at Nakuru, go to CBD Nakuru, open a hotel there. There people are going to eat, because they are so much far from their places, and therefore they are going to order food there. If you want to open a hotel, just make sure it's an urban place where residences are not near, so that you may not end up losing your money, or probably seeing it's not working. The reason why I'm saying it's a high risk investment is it's because, for example, if you open a hotel, the first day you have to cook, but you have to speculate what people normally eat in that particular area. You have to define the target population, to see whether you are targeting the young people, or if it's fast foods, or if somewhere that you are supposed to sit and eat. For example, if you're doing rice and so such kind of things, then you speculate that these are people that are going to eat. So you have to invest on space, at the same time you invest on kitchen. And therefore, remember, kitchen equipments are very expensive. So it's like something that you're going to invest heavily, probably 500,000 and above, you open a hotel. But remember, you have to cook. You have to buy food. Food is a perishable product. And therefore, when you are dealing with perishable products, it means it's something that you're supposed to cook, and then in the next few hours, you have already served, it's eaten, it's gone. Just like the same as farming. If you do farm sukuma wiki and you have not sold them to the market, but you removed them from the land, but you take them to the market, they are not bought, then you lose the market again. We said that farming is a risky investment, such as affected by climatic conditions, but also it's affected by the markets. If you don't get the market for your products, where are you going to take them? And those are perishable goods. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, these investments are not for the faint-hearted. Hotel, you might cook food, you expect people to come. For example, if you've just opened a hotel, people do not know that you are doing hotel. So therefore, you have to stay like 3-4 months for people to know that, oh, there exists a hotel there. So you wait for people to come and eat and so on and so on. But trust you me, in the first few days or in the first few weeks, sometimes you'll need to throw away food because no one came in, or very few people came in. You need to do a lot of advertisements, you need to do a lot of marketing, and therefore when opening a hotel, it's a very huge investment. And I normally advise people to avoid hotel businesses if you are not ready to invest heavily, if you are not ready with capital, if you are not ready for frustrations, if you are not ready for depression. Ladies and gentlemen, just avoid hotel. And I'm telling you, if your risk level is that high, then you can open a hotel in an urban center. Do not dare open in residential places because it's going to frustrate you. So, ladies and gentlemen, here you are dealing with perishable products. Food is a perishable thing. It needs to be consumed in the next few hours. If you are doing rice, it needs to be consumed. If it's chapatis, you cannot serve 3 days old chapatis. You have to. So if you do 50 chapatis today and only 10 customers came, then what are you going to do to the rest of the chapatis? So you get the math. So you have to do those calculations before you even start that particular hotel. So it is a risky business, ladies and gentlemen. Now, having talked about that, let me now take you to I'm just going to talk about 3 businesses that are very risky. And the first one is farming, hotel. If you're not a risk-taking person, if you don't like taking risks, just avoid those businesses because they are not for you. You are going to suffer depression and die. The third one is production and manufacturing. Production and manufacturing, and here depends with what you are producing. Because, for example, if you start producing yogurt, yogurt is also a product you are also producing, but it depends whether you are doing with a small scale production, small scale, or large scale. It depends whether you are doing small scale production or large scale production. Now, if you are doing small scale production, like for example, you are producing in a small local area, then well, it's good, but again, you have to check on the costs. Remember, production and manufacturing, it's a risky investment because in most cases, it's going to be affected by economic conditions, political instability, and so on and so on. A lot of licenses by the government. Sometimes they might even deny you licenses whereby you've already invested in that particular hotel. Now, competitors, they are so bad. There is a lot of jealousy outside here. If someone sees that you have started producing a product and it's moving in the market, they want to do everything to eliminate you in the market so that their products can move. So it's a risky business, and therefore it's a lot of competition, and therefore there are some people who are just even going to go to just to destroy your business. They can do anything to destroy your business. So it's a risky business. If you are not ready for that, just avoid it because it's going to frustrate you a lot. If it's products, you come up with a very good product, but remember, the market is the one that determines whether your business is going to succeed. If the market does not accept your product, what are you going to do? You've already invested in labor. you have invested in space, you have invested in machinery, and so on and so on. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a risky product. You might come up with the machinery, you employ people, yes, you had the capital, but again, at some point you expect that capital to come back. And the coming back of the capital is through that product selling in the market. If it doesn't sell in the market, or you provide a product or you produce a product and then you find that in the market there is even a better product than that what you are producing. So again, before you produce a product to go to the market, you have to do a research to see that product that you want to produce. If it's yogurt, look at the products, you look at the yogurts that exist in the market. How are they? What can you improve? Because customers will always look for something that is more better than other products. So ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of competition and a lot of products are coming in the market. So therefore, if you are not a risk taker, again, production and manufacturing is not good for you. I normally see that people who don't like taking risk are going to do mitumba, because mitumba, nguo, you know, at some point people will still buy clothes because those are basic needs. Fast moving snacks and so on, they are not perishable. Clothes are not perishable. If you want to, you can start a barber shop. It's not a perishable business. Sometimes if you even purchase equipment, you can resell them even if it's at a loss, but it's not a business that you can say it's that much risky as compared to farming, hotel. Here, farming is somewhere you can invest 1 million and you watch it going like that. You had invested on land, you list land, and therefore when you list land, you put an investment of 500,000, like and then there is all of a sudden there is a lot of sun, or there is a lot of rain, and it destroys all the crops. So ladies and gentlemen, a hotel, again, production and manufacturing, those businesses, if you are not a risk taker, just avoid them. They are not for you. Just go for the less risky businesses or investments. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Remember, my name is John Mweri, professional accountant with Xfinop Accountancy and Insurance Consultancy. And I normally tell you, this is another reason that you should always stay subscribed in this particular channel, because this is what we normally do. Come here, discuss a lot of things like this, and therefore we can be able to educate the community. So therefore, make sure that you subscribe, give me a like on this particular video, also put a comment on this on the comment section, and make sure that you share this particular video. Now, until we see each other next time, that was my time. Stay liquid.